What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is time for the Week 31 Premier League predictions. The international fixtures are over. Congratulations to Portugal, Poland, everyone else that qualified for the World Cup. Some notable absentees. Egypt, of course. I mean, not sure how Salah was supposed to call that penalty with the lasers in his face, but it is what it is. I haven't had time to pick out a comment from the previous video to shout out in this video, but if you want a chance to be featured in the next episode, then be sure to leave your predictions down in the comments below. The reason I say that is because I got back from Los Angeles yesterday, and I'm recording this video 3 hours before it's supposed to go up, and the render time on these videos are absolutely enormous, so I need to get in so I can edit it and upload it in time for the scheduled viewing. So kicking it off, we'll get straight in to Liverpool up against Watford. Also, real quick, had a pretty good week last week. We had Arsenal to beat Aston Villa, Tottenham to beat West Ham, and Leicester to beat Brentford 2-1. So all good there. But Liverpool and Watford, I think it's going to be an absolute cakewalk for Liverpool. I don't see Watford scoring, although they were the team that ended Liverpool's unbeaten run that season when Ismail Assar went through and scored the goals. I'm going to go for a 4-0 win to Liverpool, and my tip is Liverpool to win both halves at 2. So, you know, maybe a cheeky 1-0 halftime, 3-0 full time. But obviously, I think it's going to be 4-0, 2-0 both halves. You never know. I think Liverpool are going to win this one convincingly. After that, we have Brighton up against Norwich. I think this should be a straightforward result for Brighton at the Amex Stadium. I don't see Norwich scoring. I know Brighton haven't been as good lately as they were earlier on in the season, but I think they'll start this period of games going back to winning ways. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Brighton, and my tip is Brighton to win and under 3.5 goals at 1.95. Now, after that, do we even need to talk about Burnley up against Manchester City? I don't think so. I'm going to go for a 5-0 win to Man City. That's a scoreline that the citizens love to get against Burnley. And my tip, I've actually gone for Man City just to score in both halves at 1.83. I know I went even bigger on Liverpool to win both halves despite predicting a lesser scoreline, but just in case it's like 1-1 in the first half and City have to then go nuts in the second half, which I could see happening because City haven't looked quite as efficient as Liverpool, I've gone with them to score in both halves at 1.83. To win both halves, if you really do back them, like I do to be fair, is 2.5. So again, really, really good value there. After that, we have Chelsea up against Brentford at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea, they'll want to make sure Arsenal don't give them a run for third, I'll tell you that. So I'm going to go for a Chelsea win, but keep it low scoring. I think Brentford will cause problems, and against most of the teams, they would be able to score a goal with the problems that I expect they're going to create, but not Chelsea, in my opinion, and not in this fixture. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Chelsea, and my tip, once again, very solid one for Chelsea. Chelsea to win and under 3.5 goals at 1.86. Chelsea are always good for a 1 or 2-0 win, in my opinion. And now moving on to Leeds up against Southampton, and coincidentally, or perhaps not coincidentally, the first game of this game week where I'm actually predicting both teams to get on the score sheet. The other few games have been pretty foregone conclusions, in my opinion. This one is much trickier to predict. Southampton across the entire season have looked better. Leeds can be tricky to deal with. Leeds are at Elland Road as well, which makes things tough. So given that there are a few draws typically in every single game week, I'm going to sit on the fence for this one and go for a 1-1 draw between the two teams in case it ends like 6-3 to one of them. I have no idea what this scoreline will be, to be honest. My tip is going to be both teams to score at a probably quite fairly priced 1.53. I think if one team was going to fail to get on the score sheet, I'd actually go for Leeds and Southampton to win to 0. But I do think both teams will score in this one. Now, after that, we have Wolves up against Aston Villa. Initially, I went for a low-scoring 1-0 win to Wolves. However, Jimenez in that freak game against Leeds got sent off. I would have actually won an accumulator had Wolves held on to that 2-0 lead. I had Wolves, Arsenal, Leicester and Tottenham to win as a fourfold at odds of about 20 to 1. And when I saw Wolves 2-0 up, I genuinely turned off the TV and thought, you know what, we'll be fine. On to the next one. I checked the full-time result and it's 3-2. They go down to 10 men, but you'd think with Wolves, they park everyone behind the ball anyway. I don't see why Jimenez getting sent off meant they conceded 3 goals. Just absolute freak of nature result. But given that Jimenez isn't going to be playing for them, as he'll be suspended as a result of his second yellow and then therefore red card, I don't know necessarily where the threat's going to come from, so I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw, and my tip is going to be under 2.5 goals at 1.61. Now, after that, we have Manchester United up against Leicester. United haven't beat Leicester in the last like 4 or 5 meetings. Leicester have won the last 3, I believe, 2 in the league and 1 in the cup. So Man United will want to get back to winning ways, especially after a bit of a rough international break for the likes of Harry Maguire, seeing himself getting booed in the England fixture. So I think Man United are going to bounce back with a win here. if they lose, they can pretty much not kiss top 4 goodbye, but they're just making it extremely difficult for themselves. And whilst I think Leicester are capable of beating this United side, I don't think it's going to happen at Old Trafford, but I also don't think it's going to be an easy run for Man United. I could see Leicester scoring first and Man United having to do the business. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to United, and given that I'm very confident that they will concede to Leicester, my tip is Man United to win and both teams to score at 2.87. I think the value is good. I can see Leicester breaking through, scoring one on the counter-attack, and then United not actually playing good football until they go behind. So watch this space when that happens. After that, it is West Ham up against Everton. Everton got absolutely thrashed by Crystal Palace recently. I mean, they got a great result against Newcastle, to be fair. Newcastle probably will be, well, they'll definitely be kicking themselves. I think Newcastle could have and should have won that game, but it shows fighting spirit. That could have been the turning moment of the season for Everton that sees them stay in the Premier League. And whilst West Ham do have the Europa League in the back of their minds to think about a few days after, I think there's just enough days between this fixture and the Europa League fixture for West Ham to field a strong enough side to get the win. And it's typically after the Europa League fixtures that West Ham's results tend to suffer, and not before. So at the London Stadium against an Everton side that haven't looked that great this season, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to the Hammers. My tip is West Ham to win at 1.75. I think that 1.75 value just it accounts for the slight doubts you might have in West Ham's ability to win the game in the run-up to a very important European fixture. Now after that, it is Tottenham Hotspur up against Newcastle. Newcastle will be, again, absolutely kicking themselves that they didn't beat Everton, especially when they had the chance to go ahead against 10 men and they just didn't take it. I think Tottenham are going to win this one. Tottenham actually look more likely to get top four from Arsenal as it stands than Man United do. I think Tottenham are actually looking rather good. Very good at winning games, which is not perhaps typical of Tottenham lately. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win. I think Newcastle will score. They've got the players to do that, but Tottenham should win this fairly comfortably. My tip is Tottenham to win and over 1.5 goals at 1.83. I don't see this being 1-0. I could see it being 2-0, however. Maybe double it up, Tottenham to win and Harry Kane to score, because if Tottenham do score, where are the goals going to come from? If not from Harry Kane? Obviously, Son, Kulusevski's having a fantastic season. Such a good player. I think Tottenham are going to brush Newcastle aside with relative ease. Now, the next one, Patrick Vieira's Crystal Palace up against Arsenal. Palace proving to be tricky customers for whoever they play against, and not to mention the game they played against Arsenal. I think it was Vieira's first time against Arsenal. Ended 2-2 thanks to a late Lacazette equaliser in the 95th minute, I believe. This is not going to be easy. As an Arsenal fan, I'd love to predict Arsenal to win. I think winning away against Aston Villa was a fantastic result. They've been winning loads of games this season, and when you look at their results against teams other than Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool, it's been faultless, more or less. Best in the league. So, and that is why they're fourth. That's generally how it works. So I would love to say Arsenal can win, and I was tempted to go for a 2-1 away win to Arsenal. However, I am not sleeping on Crystal Palace. They look unbelievable, and there's going to be that added spice. Patrick Vieira versus Arsenal. So I'm actually going to sit on the fence and go for a draw. I'd love to say Arsenal win. I could see Palace winning. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, which wouldn't be the worst result for Arsenal, given that they managed to get the 3 points away from Villa. I think if you asked any Arsenal fan, would you take 4 points from Villa and Palace away? Given the circumstances, I think you would. We shine at home, away from home, particularly at these sort of odds to win, which for Arsenal is about 1.92, sort of that sort of thing. It's been tricky in the past for Arsenal to get results, so I would take 4 points. So I'm going to go for that draw. My tip is both teams to score at 1.95, because with how good Arsenal have been playing, I don't see them not scoring. But with Palace at home, the way they've been playing this season under Patrick Vieira, I also don't see them scoring, despite Arsenal's brilliant defence. I think they're the only team not to concede from a corner this season. I could have just completely made that statistic up, but when I say it with chest, it sounds true, and I think it is. So that is going to do it for the week 31 Premier League fixtures. If you did enjoy this video, please do drop a like, subscribe so you don't miss another one. Leave your comments down below with your predictions for a chance to be shouted out in the next episode. As I said, I didn't get a chance to get around to it this time round because the video goes up in 3 hours and I'm short for time. But that is going to do it from me, and I will see you in the next video very soon.